Hello everyone and welcome to Hot Takes League of Legends edition. Ethan is not going to stop touching his hair this whole next hour and a half, I think. Not having the best hair
No,
day,
no,
but
no,
never
no.
mind. Never mind. What is it? You're a bit tired? Sleepy head?
Yeah, you know when you wake up and your haircut looks like shit. Well, I just have that right now.
I
So
don't
yeah,
really know.
yeah, that's true. By the way, are you like usually a bit bald, or you have hair you just cut them?
This is look at that hairline. Do you think that looks like there's any sign of bald? What's that
That's
about?
true. That's true. But maybe we don't see your back, so. Ooh, okay, okay,
Nothing.
okay. Maybe you have more hair than me actually.
No, sorry. It's just I've any age-related things. I might be a little bit touchy. I just turned 30 a few days ago, so.
Oh,
Just for,
happy birthday
just
then.
thank you,
Props.
but just
And
hold off on
actually,
the age stuff for today, please, guys. I'm
ah,
sensitive.
okay.
Shall we jump into it then? Obviously, the big thing over the weekend was G2 giving a little tease to KC that they might let him back in and give KC a chance in the LEC finals. Obviously, just crush those dreams. Oh, what? Wait, what? Hold on. The bloody hell is this website? Let's get this one off. There you go. That's the right one. That's the better
Thank
one.
you for the ad, man. Thank you for the ad.
That was an
I'll
accident.
send you the money later.
No, we're cutting that. That's not going out in the public thing. But yeah, G2 winning 3-2 then, and it just seemed to be at 2-0. It kind of felt to me like they were just gonna sweep them 3-0. So I was like really surprised that KC even got it back to 2-2. And then when someone's on the edge of a reverse sweep like that. I mean, I don't remember the exact stats on it, but it's very rare that if you get from 0-2 to 2-2 that you actually don't win the fifth game. Like almost, or the vast majority of the time, the teams reversing will always take the fifth one. Because at that point you've got the momentum and the other team's kind of crumbling. But then G2 were just, like they sort of decided just to go back to normal and then won the fifth game. But yeah, what were your guys' reactions?
I want to hear from you, Davide, first.
I don't know, man. It's like it was an insane series, I must say though. It was super fun, regardless of who you would support. I guess I didn't have anyone in my mind. I just wanted to be sure that we had like a convincing series, as in like good gameplay that would make me kind of wishful and hopeful for first stand, because obviously internationals are coming up soon. And like the everything that G2 showed in the first two games made me say, oh, okay, actually, this year G2 maybe after it had a slow, like they had a slow start, but they might actually be cooking something. And then all of a sudden I see Pantheon go 4-0, 5-0 in game 3, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty over. And then they sent it like a couple of times. And then Casey came back, and then Casey came back another time in the fourth game. And then we're like, okay, we're back to square one. I don't know, it's it was definitely fun. The highlight reel, I think, was just the gang banger game 5. I think that's actually the level of play that both teams can show up. I actually think that KC kind of got shut down or like underperformed compared to their level in the first two games, which is what led to G2 um stomp them, I guess, in the first two games. But then we started seeing KC's gameplay come back to life, and then actually G2 also sending it a little bit. I want to jump on that later, because I think it's something that we need to talk about. But
On
yeah,
what, sorry?
for me, the G2 sending it, throwing a couple of times.
Okay.
It's something that I want to look into, because I feel like it could be the make or break thing for internationals. But yeah, I think at least we got to see kind of both teams play out their, I wouldn't say max potential, but I would say something somewhat close to their max potential. I really like the way Casey tried to play composed, or like contain G2's aggressiveness, over and over again. I really like that because I think it's one of the hardest things to pull off whenever you play as a team. And it's also something that can be super helpful in tough series like this one. Like knowing how to play from behind is something that I think some teams cannot even do, even if they play together for quite some time. BFX, just to, just to make an example right there. No,
Do
no
you
shot.
really compare playing from behind against Gen.G?
No, of course. No,
Playing from behind against G2?
I was joking, but like what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say is like I think whenever you're able to do that more than one time against a strong team, it is a sign, you know. It means something to me at least. But yeah, like I honestly, out of that series, the things that come to my mind are Kana's whatever Korean Gnar trying to do five man ults on stuff, and then that insane Anivia caps moment around Eldrake that literally saved the entire game. Actually, I think Caps saved it a couple of times. I know we had that talk about Skumon potentially getting FMVP. I actually ended up giving it to Caps, just because of that clutch factor. Like, I've rewatched the VOD a little bit just to understand how much he influenced and impact that series, at least that last game. And like there was also someone on Twitter like who tweeted out the next like he went like over that another Anivia replay where he just queued Yahoo as he was trying to kill someone, and like he stunned him as soon as it landed, and that allowed them.
He
Yeah,
predicted where he would land. Yeah.
yeah, and then like Caps was saying like I actually got to chat with Caps after, and he was saying something like, "Oh, when the solo play on Anivia, he felt super confident, or kind of like he was feeling confident because he didn't have to watch over anyone else. So it kind of looks like Caps is
He's
not being
pulling
held
back.
back, but
He's
like
getting pulled back by his teammates or what?
yeah, it kind of feels like he has to he doesn't have as many highlight reels just because he has like to constantly look for his teammates, which is fair. I think it's like in the modern era of league, it's not really you carry all. So it was nice to see kind of like Prime Caps form being like performance, definitely for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say though, G2 is definitely the best team in early game right now. We have in LC. While I would say, as you said, KC is very reliant when it comes to playing from behind so early, which is kind of crazy. But I would have still give it to Skumon because the fact that G2 are so good in early game to me comes down to him, like entirely. When I look at all 5 games, even those he lost, I feel like he was always having an impact on those. And then, when you're a jungler, it's not up to you right now, given the current meta, you don't play carry junglers anymore. It's not really up to you to 1v9 a game, I would say. When you've done your job, kinda. Yeah, maybe he didn't snowball as much as he should have sometimes, maybe all that stuff. But for example, the Skarner game, he gives so much advantage to the bot lane, to every side of the map, kind of, and then he's not rewarded for it, because in mid game the team is kind of not playing that well. So yeah, I would say I was kind of worried for G2's mid game actually. I didn't know if it was like from KC being so good in mid game or from the fact that they had much better scaling comps, which I honestly didn't really feel like when I watched the drafts in general. Because that that game 5, I guess they had kind of upper ends in scaling. But,
Yeah.
you know, um, I just felt like, yeah, it was not a good sign for G2. So I asked him directly, like, do you feel like you're more confident on your mid game than what you've shown today? Because honestly, it would have been a 3-0 if it was not for the for the problem G2 had in mid game. By the way, even game 3 and 4, they were ahead by quite a large margin in early game, and yet they lost, So, and I asked him, and he just told me that, yeah, no, we are very confident in our mid game. It's just that stage nerves, it's just that what he said is like also they played a bit too loose after game 1 and 2. But yeah, honestly, it's kind of a mix of all that, and I'm just so happy for Skumon because I feel like right now he's becoming that undisputed best jungler in the league,
Yeah.
And
True.
it's kind of crazy to see that in that particular meta because it's a meta where, of course, jungler have to farm, right? But at the same time, I feel like what is starting to be very good at is the fact that he's finding all those creative windows to actually influence the state of the game. For example, there was one moment that kind of shocked me a bit because I know this is not what Command is like originally as a player. It was in game 3 with Pantheon. He did his full clear. He was about to take
Pass.
the scuttle crab, He
Oh,
was
yeah.
he was about to take the scuttle crab, and then he realized that his bot lane could get dove, so he just based without doing the scuttle and instantly ran bot and took double kill, and just
Actually, initially he was about to pass top, as far as I remember, and then as soon as like he saw that the enemy bot lane, like Casey's bot lane, was getting closer to the tower, he just immediately like started pathing back again, and then as soon as Yak came to gank, he was already there. So, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
but he based before
no,
going.
no, basically, yeah, of course, he based.
So it's like he anticipated everything, so he didn't took the scuttle, and that's something I even asked him. I asked him like, bro, what have you done that 2 years ago? The old school one that was like a farming machine and just like outplaying his opponent by being 2 levels up, on him. He told me probably not, because it's just how he grew as a player. He's just became that very very complete player. I think those international events really helped him in that way, being more creative, having more game sense to actually play around his team, but also like experience. When you play with your team for such a long time, you know how to play around them, you know what they want. So yeah, I'm very happy for him. And while in the meantime, I'm kind of disappointed for Yike because I feel he's the one who had a way tougher series in KC. Honestly, like I think Botlane didn't play like that well. I think Yahoo was my KC's MVP overall in the series. But
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, Yike had kind of tough series. I would say like he didn't find those windows. He didn't have that impact on the game that he had, like basically the whole split, And I'm kind of disappointed for him because he was playing against his former team. He was playing against the juggler that took his spot, And looking at his recent form, I would have assumed that he would look quite good, in that final, and that didn't happen. I think Skumond kind of ate him in the series. So yeah, kind of disappointed for Yike, but very like so happy for Skumond because I feel like right now the game, and it's been kind of a few years, but right now the game is about junglers, like it's the main thing that can impact the game. Actually, I feel like we are probably in the year or in the meta that is the least impacted by jungler, because I feel like laning is way more important than it used to, but still jungler is the best role in the game to me. And yeah, when you look at it that way, I feel like having Skumond in Europe is a buff, So I'm quite excited to see him at like playing many internationals, arriving at Worlds with much more confidence probably than he had last year, and yeah, I think it's gonna be fun to follow his journey this year.
Well, Worlds is.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, go on.
Yeah.
You go, Davide.
No, yeah, I was like, I think my main takeaway is that aside from everything that Ethan said, which I completely agree on, I think like Scuman had a massive upgrade, like a massive glow up compared to last year. I think what G2 as a team really needs is not really domestic play. I think it's just like a cross-regional play, to be honest. Because even KC to a certain extent, I guess. But like since they're kind of a new team, I think they kind of they still have to work on their potential, or like kind of find out what like makes it click between all of them. Because I think changing out mid and support really changes a lot of your dynamic, and it takes a little bit of time to max out. Whereas like,
by the way, they adapted so fast. It's kind of crazy, no?
yeah, no, they did, which I think is why I said like I'm happy with how KC performed, definitely, like overall during the entire split, because they did well in regular season and then did okay, like they did fine in playoffs. To be honest, I don't think it was a bad performance, um,
Sure not.
per se. But it's like for me, it's like I want to see. I need to quickly know as EU as a region what type of expectations do we need to set for this year, because I think last year we had really good we had a really good showing at first 10, but then it kind of died down and it only peaked slightly at Worlds. I hope this year is kind of a crescendo, and having like G2 being there from the start will kind of set us the bar, as in this is what EU as a region needs to reach. If they do not perform, then I'm going to be concerned about the entire level of the region. If it's not, then I think KC and MKOI, which I think we all agree are the top 3 teams in the league right now in terms of like tiers, let's say, even though I still think G2 is slightly higher. At least we know that these 3 teams, when they go to international, we kind of have an idea of what to expect from them, or like what would be like a like base case, like satisfying result, great result, or like poor result. Because I feel like last year we didn't really know. I'm not sure you guys, because we had the like MKOI and G2 didn't do bad, didn't do good at MSI, but then
I
MKOI
still
did
feel
okay
like
actually.
yeah, but you know, I still have so many regrets for MKOI because I feel like if they played their A game at this time, they were so good that I think
Yeah,
like
of
it was
course.
so close against BLG, you know, like it was like 2-1 for BLG. Then there's that game 4 where they just get like I don't know. I think it was kind of a backdoor, you know, with BLG
Yeah,
entering the
yeah,
base and stuff while they were quite ahead. Yeah, it was kind of sad. I feel like MKOI could have like we could have had a different view on MKOI if that game against BLG was did go the other way around. You know, I feel like they would have won that series, and then you know it was like okay, MKOI is kind of good. MKOI might be the new hope for Europe and stuff, and because they lost that series from such a close margin, you know, I'm kind of disappointed for them. But outside of that, yeah, I completely agree with you that you know it might be the year of confirmation for the for this top 3. You know, it was kind of the first year last year where you know Jojo arrived, Casey had a new roster and stuff, and now it's like the confirmation. Okay, you've now like you settled your foundation last year. Now you need to confirm that this top 3 is stacked, that we can do something at international, that you can grow actually, that you can progress, and just take Europe to new heights. You know, that's how I feel. And also one thing I wanted to say, just to end on to end on the final, is that if KC won that game 5, honestly, if I have to be very honest, it would have been kind of a robbery. Like I'm happy that G2 won in the end because I feel like it's the best team that won in the end. You know, like given the early games, given how it went like globally in the series, I don't feel like KC would have. Of course, they would have deserved it because it would have been crazy resilience. It would have been crazy story to reverse sweep G2 in that manner. But in the end, I would have feel like that's not the best team of League of Legends that won this game because they were always kind of playing from behind, trying to get back in the game, you know, slowly. And it's more about G2 making mistakes than KC making, even though they made great plays. And I do feel actually, I want to point out that KC is looking very, very interesting in mid game and in team fights. And also that, like, so early in the year. And also that, like, I feel they are so good at finding the mistakes the opponent will make in mid game when they push with Nashor and stuff. They will always punish the mistakes. Like one guy overextending in his lane or something, they will send 5 ults on him and just cancel the Baron, his Baron power play, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to point out that for me, G2 was more worthy of the title given how the series went than KC.
That's not common of you.
Yeah,
To
but
not back Karmine Corp here.
you know, you must. I must be honest. I'm also a journalist in
Must
Gen,
give
so
credit where
I
it's
must
due.
be honest.
Fair.
Yeah, look at him. He's got a new little project, and now he's trying to be all controversial. Get the hate watchers over there. Right?
Not
I
at
know your
all.
game. I know
I'm
your
still
game.
I'm still a French fan. I'm still a French team fan, and I will root for KC if they do well, either in Europe or internationally. So yeah, no, it's just that if I have to be very honest, in my opinion, and what I give to people that are watching, is that to me, KC was not the best team on the Rift that day. So like the right team won, you know, in the end. That's just what I say. And that doesn't mean that KC was not good, you know. They were very good. They were very good at playing from behind, actually, as we said. But G2 was better all around, you know. That's just what I say.
And I think credit to them as well, the fact that they done a 5-game series the day before too. Like for them to for them to go down and not just like, because I'm sure they must have been exhausted, and not to just like completely crumble was, you know, fair enough. And obviously, well, that was a back-to-back 5-game series, and obviously only 2 days before that they had the 3-0 against Giant.X as well. Or no, the day before actually, wasn't it? I can't remember the days, but anyway.
Yeah,
so they played. They played 3 days in a row.
3 days in a row, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, fair enough. Just a couple more things on the final then before we move on. Aside from how the games actually went, there was a bit of debate about the crowds, and I was actually I kind of don't understand what's gone on with it. I was really surprised. So it did start on the Friday, and you could see on the broadcast that there was like a lot of empty seats, and I know like Rich from H2K posted some pictures, and it kind of sparked a bit of a debate. Firstly, because I think, well, and this is kind of what I had thought when I first saw it as well. I was like, okay, fair enough. It looks a bit crap that it's quite empty, but it was the Friday's game. It wasn't KOI playing, although Giant.X has like a pretty good following. But I thought, okay, you know, I can kind of see why maybe it would have a few less seats. Although again, a Friday night, it doesn't seem like it should be an issue for people to go on a Friday night. But anyway, I kind of thought, right, fair enough. It might fill up, or it should fill up the next day. Because it's similar to the Madrid finals that we went to last year. Like the first day, or like the first, yeah, I'm pretty sure the first match day was, yeah, it was pretty similar. But yeah, and then the Saturday when KOI turned up, it was like still quite empty, and I was really surprised. Obviously, the Sunday was basically the same, and it wasn't a huge venue. Now I know that Adamu guy, like the co-owner of Overactive, who owns KOI, I think he tweeted saying that they made a profit on the event because it was a roadshow hosted by KOI technically, so they were putting up the costs of running the whole thing. And yeah, he says they made profit. I think he said something about like 15,000 viewers, but or attendees.
People, yeah.
But did he? I couldn't remember exactly how he worded it. If that was like over the whole weekend, so like if you're accumulating the 3 days.
Over the whole weekend. Yes, it was over the whole weekend.
So you can guess like an average of 5,000 people a day. Which it was a bit of an odd one. I'm not really sure why it couldn't sell out, to be honest. Like one thing I was seeing from like the Spanish viewers' perspective was saying like, oh, you know, people had to. It's in Barcelona, which is like up in the corner of the country. So for a lot of people in Spain, they'd have had to travel cross country to get there, and what have you. And that would be kind of an understandable argument if it was one of the regular roadshows that they did, like last year for regular season. Then I can understand it. But it's an LEC final, like. People because then people started putting screenshot or sharing pictures of like the last time they had just like a regular LEC finals in Madrid, like 2018 or something, and it was like a massive arena sellout. And that is, pretty much is an apt comparison. The only argument you could say is maybe because it's the LEC Versus is not like technically the same weight as a proper split, but that's kind of neither here nor there. I think I feel like it felt like an LEC, a proper LEC tournament. And yeah, people would typically travel for those, so it was a bit of a strange one, really. Yeah, not really sure what went on there, to be honest. The viewership on the whole was like not that bad. So we did see increased viewership from the Los Ratones games in the regular season, because I saw there was like panic on that as well. Like after the first
we
week
beat
of
the LCK on something, by the way.
Yeah, we beat LCK. Yeah.
We beat the LCK, which is kind of crazy, but
damn,
I
I
mean,
didn't realize
like,
that.
there were
LCK
so many circumstances around it that I'm not saying
No
like
T1.
we actually beat the. Yeah, of course, but
But the LCK numbers are actually quite like I will be worried, It's like 620k or something. It's like the lowest peak ever, no?
What was it? 620?
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
620.
693.
Okay,
Ah.
693. Yeah.
I guess
It's
just
still like below 700, which is like less than half of what T1 peaked at with DK on playoffs.
Yeah.
'Cause
Blimey.
the T1 DK series was 1.5, so it's like minus 53-4%,
Jesus.
which
I guess
is
because
kind of crazy.
just like of any opponent Gen.G could have had, like FearX is probably the one of like least interest or like least fans, I guess. Like surely if it was even DK or something, it would be more. But and the fact it was just like
definitely,
smash
and also
3-0.
yeah, it was like a stomp anyway. Like I think most people would have expected it to be a stomp. It's just that like you seen it play out. It's kind of like what should have happened from G2 KC. It's just that G2 kind of tripped on the way to that, while Gen.G just said, "Nah, fuck it, we're destroying them." But on the attendee thingy, I think personally speaking, from what I've seen over socials, but just in general, the feeling that it gave me is that like the seating was weird because like people were watching. There were like quite a couple of seats in the middle, like closer to the stage. But it's like if you look at it from the broadcast, it's like it doesn't really occupy the stands, but you still have like a couple of hundreds people in there, which could potentially like fill at least one side of an arena, of like at least on the like side seats above. And
The arena capacity was like 12,000 or something. 10 to 12,000.
yeah, I think someone said there were like it was like 70-75%, maybe 80% full. So we're talking about like I don't know, like 7-8K, maybe a little bit more. But the idea for me, it's like whenever you watch these kind of like basketball stadiums or football stadiums, if you just don't see people on the sides, it usually gives you quite a not a good feeling. And I also think like the seating compared to like watching football, for example, like traditional sports, you have a really tough thing about watching games from the angles. You could clearly see that like the seating areas, people would avoid specific seating areas because they were like at the angle between like two screens, and so that obviously like really ruins your viewing experience. And I would assume that those seats cost less, but like probably the difference wouldn't really make it worth it um for the viewers. I think like the LCK one kind of makes more sense. I don't know if you guys have seen, but it's like it's the traditional like two teams on the stage, screens are high up, and then everyone watching from one side. I think that probably is a little bit better, which is also what we had at Worlds. Even though at Worlds we had like lower sitting areas and upper sitting areas, but it was still like it's like most people would get rewarded for choosing any seat basically, or at least you would be like, if you're a little bit on the side, you should technically be much closer to the teams, so it's actually like if you want to take photos, you want to take videos, it's actually more impactful, even though it kind of can ruin or negatively influence your viewing experience. If you're on the back instead, you will get that like grandstand feeling, like that majestic feeling of watching like a super big event. So I think it's kind of like it has to do with that, and obviously the cost. Like costs itself, I checked the prices because I remember like some people were saying like, oh, it's too expensive for an event, and I guess like you can kind of understand. I can kind of understand that like if you're a young guy who wants to go and watch I don't know, like an LEC game, like 35-40 euros would probably be not something that you would immediately spend on. But at the same time, it's like LEC tickets used to cost like 12 euros. I'm not sure if they do still right now.
I do. I think
Uh,
they do. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that jump, like for an LEC final, I think is more than
Listen, if you're
fair.
not willing to pay 40 euros to go to an LEC final, then you're what is even like you're basically a fan that contributes nothing to the ecosystem. Let's be real.
By the way, I just went to watch the prices for KC road trip. It's like the lowest seats, like the lowest chair seats
Yeah.
are like 90 euros. So you know.
Yeah. So I think it's like I understand the fact that there's obviously there's like the pricing is set by the organizers, and I think they probably would have done like an ideal like this is not the first time MKOI does an event, you know. This is what I mean. So it's like they probably already have figured out that pricing makes sense. Obviously, for some people, it will be expensive. I don't. I wouldn't like want to say that it's not, but at the same time, it's like for the majority of people, it's something that you would be able to afford. Obviously, traveling to events is expensive, so it's something that it's more of, do you think that it's worth it to spend that amount of money to go and to take your weekend, which is not only money but also time, your time, to travel to a city, stay there for 2 days? I know Barcelona is not cheap if you want to stay overnight, but it's like you get to travel the city, you get to go around for tourism. It's something that like I wrote a report on it for Chinese esports industry. It's something that China does it super well. Like they try to mesh the city or like the hosting region culture into the event, so that like people who go there, it's like might be thinking of, oh, I haven't visited this city, like I haven't seen much of it, but I get to travel and like experience everything at the same time while I'm also watching the esports event. So it's like you get the double benefit of going to that city, and at the same time, obviously, you foster that consumption of, or like as a consumer, to go there and spend money for food, travel, lodging, experience other types of experiences and stuff like that. So I think it's like it's fair, you know. If you look at it from just like, oh, the ticket, I don't even think it's that expensive, to be honest.
It's like 10% of the faker skin.
Guys, I must say it. I'm just gonna say it. In France, when it was in Montpellier, you know, the EMEA Masters and LEC season finals,
I
it
was
was
there.
full the whole weekend. And you saw it was full the whole weekend, right?
It was actually full from the first day. I was actually
Yeah.
super surprised. Like
But
we had like
it was because
BDS?
KC was in
if
it,
It was
right?
we have to
KC
be honest.
BDS, no?
No,
Was
no,
KC?
it was KC Movistar Riders.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, fair.
First split of Calist. And it's like, okay, yeah, you can get why it was full, right? But at the same time, MKOI played against KC at Barcelona and it was still far from full, you know? So, yeah, I'm just gonna say it. Yeah, even in Montpellier, you know, which is kind of, I would say is even a less popular city than Barcelona in Spain, probably. We are making it, you know, we are making
I
it
guess,
work. So just maybe GLEC should come back in France. I don't know, man. Why all those road trips in Spain when France is up there, you know? I don't know.
but
don't know.
I think like the main difference is that people don't recognize LEC versus finals as a major final. Like
Yeah, probably.
in their mind,
It
deep
works as
down in
well.
their mind, myself included, I just don't think the stakes are that high. Like yeah, I understand you're going to first stand, but at the same time, it's it's not end of season. Like you could potentially get this final once again in half a year's time, and at that time you will be like, oh yeah, we're fighting for Wolves here, even though technically both teams were already qualified. Like
that's the issue.
it's which is why I'm still adamant of the fact that we have 3 splits. Like I don't really get it. I understand like the fact that some people want more action, but deep down, like from a psychological point of view, like marketing standing for me, it's like whenever you're so bombarded and full of stuff, you really get away the excitement of watching those moments. Like I understand there's like the likelihood of increasing and seeing them is higher because obviously there are more games being played, but at the same time it's like it can potentially become redundant. Like if I have to watch Champions League every day rather than every I don't know, once every 2 weeks, 3 weeks they play, I will get bored of that as well. Like I will not have the same excitement of watching a Champions League game every Wednesday, every Tuesday.
Actually, you watch your team play. For example, if you're a fan of Milan, you will watch Inter Milan every week. You know.
True, but would you like? Do you actually?
But maybe not 3 days a week. Maybe not 3 days a week.
Not 3 days a week. And do you think like all people would actually like spend money to go to every event? I doubt.
No, for sure.
Like obviously there are. I wouldn't say there aren't because I think hardcore fans in the world there are. Like there are people who are willing to spend it, but it's like we're in an economic situation where like people are kind of struggling. Let's put it that way. If you really like you're trying to be like rational about how you spend your money around it, I don't think like if I have enough money to go and watch every Champions League game of Juventus, I would go. Like but like you will end up choosing, like it's a choice. Like which one can you go to? Which teams do you think is worth spending money on it? Like would you rather go to a Champions League game, spend like 200 euros or whatever? I think if that's the prices around that for a Champions League match, or would you go and watch Serie A and play against like a small team, and spend like 30 quid, 40 euros? That's the difference.
You know what's sad as well is that, like, when you look at it, the final itself was absolutely insane. It was like kind of legendary, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And the fact that it was for an event that is not that relevant, it's kind of sad. But at the same time, I would say the fact that it was the game that would qualify one of those two teams to an international gave more, like it had more stakes to it, right? While if it was just a final for summer, for example, yes, you win GLC, but you're already at Worlds, So it's kind of not the same in the end.
Probably part of it is that First Stand is still so new as well, so it doesn't really have like the legacy yet of the other tournaments. So qualifying for First Stand in that match still doesn't feel like the weight of qualifying for MSI or Worlds or whatever. So
I mean, they're in Brazil, like they're in Brazil for 6 days only,
Yeah.
Like if they go
like in
the
the
way,
studio,
if
not
they
like
don't,
in some
it
big
might
thing.
and it might be 2 days if they don't like go the way, which is kind of expected.
Yeah. But you got me thinking though, Davide.
Me,
like I have decided, like from next season, I will go to every Tottenham Champions League game. I've decided it now. Anyway.
Okay, let's put it.
At least you'll be out of the Spurs Reddit.
Well, the joke being that we're not going to be in the Champions League next year. So
Yeah. No, for me, I don't know. Like, because I've had this talk about like having too many games, and some people tell me like, no, it's fair. Like, it's the right amount. Maybe it's because like us as people who have to work in the scene, like following so many different leagues, makes it even more redundant, which I can kind of guess is a fair argument, like is a fair thought, like discussion here. But it's I wouldn't say it's like I want just the LEC Versus to disappear all of a sudden. It's I think that there's like a way to there should be, or like there could be a way to like make it into more of a season long thingy that actually like makes even this kind of split kind of relevant to the upcoming ones. Like I kind of wish that
I kind of want LEC Versus to disappear, honestly.
yeah, like I kind of like I'm not sure what we could do, because I think the LEC Versus from the start was built for EMA teams to kind of get not for Los Ratones only, but just like for EMA teams to get a way to fight.
Man, do you really think that without Los Ratones next year there will be a LEC Versus? Because I'm kind of 90%
yeah,
sure
I've been thinking about that. I don't really know. Like I wouldn't be surprised if plans shift, you know. But
they haven't. I don't think they said it will be something that will be here first to stay. You know, they just say, yeah,
No,
we're trying something. You know, because there's that that NLC team that is quite good at the game, so we want to have them in the league and stuff. But let's see if if there's a French team that is very good, like Gallions, for example. They are looking very good right now. Do you think they will open the league next year? I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
like
Even Misa, have you seen Misa? How good they are?
yeah,
I think they could do the
I've been
triplets.
watching a little bit of EMA Masters recently because of EWC, but
Yeah, you mean URLs.
yeah.
But yeah, but guys, Misa is very, very good. Maybe they will do the triplet. Do you think they will open the league for a split for Misa? No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
They'll say, "Oh, you know, we've heard the team's feedback. We know they don't like it. We listen.
We heard the
we take our
feedbacks. We know.
We take our team partnerships very seriously. We've taken on their feedback. We understand that this
So
is
yeah,
not what they
like my issue is like it goes back to the underlying issue for me. It's like, okay, then so we're back to square one next year if that's the case.
want. They'll still do
no
winter though, surely. Like just be LEC winter like last year, wouldn't it?
No, yeah, but I mean like
There will be winter split, I guess, yeah.
I feel like we need to up the winter split stakes somehow, that it's not tied to first stand. Like there should be another way to reward the top teams to not like say, oh, it's just first split, we don't care.
You know what I feel like is the
I
issue?
always feel like some people, like aside from teams that have the potential to go to international teams, like the top teams in the league, like even in the LCS, LCK, and like every league is becoming more and more of a. We have a couple of top teams that will potentially on a consistent basis stomp everyone else, and then there might be occasional exploit, and then like you have to hope that like there's like a BFX or I don't know, in the LCP there has been like ECG, which is like Deep Cross Gaming, which is like one of the teams that got promoted at the start of this year, like that kind of like
Even
show up
G2G,
because
honestly. G2G is in the upper bracket finals, actually. It's kind of crazy when you look at
yeah.
their jungle mid, you know. But
Yeah. Oh my god, man. Stop it. He's
yeah,
already died. Please.
we're gonna talk about it later. But just one thing is, like, I feel like the main issue is that the stakes for at first end are not that high because it only just like makes the seeding for GMSI, you know.
Yeah.
That's what first end is about, you know. Make the seeding for MSI, which is not that great, you know. You just have another draw if you go to MSI. It's not like you add a seed to the MSI, and that will be something, at least, you know, that will put more tension in first end. That would have, yeah, the event itself would have more value if actually the winner gets another seed for MSI, you know, something like that. Just like MSI, you know, when you win MSI, you're already at Worlds. Maybe if you win first end, you're already at MSI, for example, you know. I feel like that will be more interesting to watch. That will make it actually more valuable, you know. But right now, the only seeding, no one care. And
I kind of wish it's a very like it's just a random thought. Like, what if MSI qualifies you to group stage, but then first time qualifies you to play-ins? If there are any play-ins, that would be like kind of a cool thing, you know. It's like you're actually, because I think obviously playing is not group stage. It doesn't mean you're in the top 16 teams, but it's still like it already gives you like an incentive to actually like perform from the start and actually get like super, without actually making it that it's like it's such a broken thing to know to to do, you know. Like I think it's like obviously like there hasn't been like plays this year was T1 IG like last year, sorry. Which is like an insane matchup. But it's like if you get like 17/18 teams in the league, especially now that the CBLOL is also being like the LTS being split once again, you can potentially send a couple of more international teams and then have a couple of them fighting players. At least you give one of the top teams from the first split something that it's not just better seeding for the region, because that's the issue. It's like, okay, it's as if like I look at Masters like Master Santiago for Valorant on a side note. I win it. Okay, I get a little bit of prize pool, but then that's it. I don't get any other benefit.
Well, what I was going to say, one thing that could improve the way it works in League, something that they do in Valorant is, well, and they used to have it in League, was like the circuit points, but
Yeah.
maybe just didn't do it the best way before. Because I remember like one of the more shit examples was like, I remember it being 100 Thieves in like the first LCS season. I think in the spring split they came second, got a bunch of circuit points. That got them to Worlds, but by the time Worlds came around, they'd been like absolutely terrible, and then they went to Worlds and were terrible, and everyone was like, "Why the fuck are they even here?" And people wanted more. You know, they want their good teams from summer to go to Worlds because you want your regions to do well. So you end up in this situation where now, like in the LEC, the 3 Worlds representatives are just the top 3 in summer. So you look at winter or LEC Versus, and you look at spring, and by the crunch time of the season, those results like really don't actually have any significance. The way they do it in Valorant is there are circuit points the whole year, but it's just way more weighted at the end of the year. So for example, in kickoff, which is like their LEC Versus sort of thing, like the top 4 teams or so get a few points. If you go to the international event, your results there get you more points as well. So that's a bigger benefit. Like if you miss out the international event, you can't get any points from it. But if you go, you get more points. Then in split 1, which is their spring split, the points get increased again. The next international event, again, there's more points. And then when it gets to the split 2, which is summer, there you get way more points. So like every win gets you a point, and there's much more to go on the like on your placements. And at the end of it, it's slightly different there because every region gets 4 teams for their world championship. But basically, it's like the top 2 in the final split gets to go to the champions, and then they get 2 other teams off their circuit points. So it'd be like, for example, in LEC, the top 2 in summer go to Worlds no matter what, and then the third one would be who has got the most circuit points. And usually it will be someone that's good at the end of the season, because that's where you get the most points. Yeah. So whoever's doing well there just shoots up the standings. But it still means that there's some significance to what you do earlier.
Like the LPL used to use that for championship points anyway.
Yeah. But by the way, guys, for the regional finals as well, like even LCK used to do that. Yeah. But by the way, guys, I feel like that's something we really miss in Europe, because right now there's not even a cash prize, for teams. So now KC that ended second are like, it's like they had the same season as, for example, I don't know, the Los Ratones, or KCB even. Like it doesn't change a thing that they went second, and that's kind of an issue to me.
Yeah.
To have like a team going second, the first split, giving it their all, having to go that far, having to struggle and stuff, to have basically no rewards, nothing. To me, that's kind of the problem. So I would say that we need something like that, at least championship points. If that's not cash prize anymore, then something, to reward
like, for example,
teams that do well.
The LCS got something, like CBLOL and the LCS got something with the America's Cup, which is actually relevant because it's like they get to, like, whoever wins gets to fly over to Korea for free.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, obviously you won't be able to play on stage, but you get boot camps against the best teams, which is actually, I think, like, is what allowed G2 and MKOI and all these kind of teams to really gap the rest from last year. So I think it's something that definitely, like, I would want the MEA region to do, because I don't think it's like that expensive anyway to travel, like, at least to the second team. I'm not saying like you have to like send multiple teams, but at least reward someone for actually at least to get to the final. I think it's something that, especially with prize pools being removed, domestic prize pools, you can at least use kind of make it up by actually rewarding a team to, I don't know, fly, maybe like sorry, like for first time it's kind of a weird thing because it's how do you say it, you're on a short, like a super strict time schedule. Like guys have basically like have to finish and go fly there, get ready. Obviously it's like a super like long flight and stuff like that, but we need to find more ways to kind of make the entire tournament more enticing, because otherwise it's just, oh, one winner wins it all, and then everyone will only care about the winner, but like everyone else gets the L. And I think there should be more rewards to a certain extent for at least the top 2 teams that get to every tournament, because like being a finalist means that you have actually played a lot of games. Like G2 had to play 2 upper bracket series, if I'm not 3 upper bracket series, if I'm not mistaken, or 2, 3, and the final. Casey had to play 5 of them. It's like
It was 2 and the final then.
no, it's 4 8.
Oh no,
4,
you're right.
2,
Yeah, because
upper bracket and upper bracket final and final, so it's like 4. And Casey had to play 1 more, because they got sent to the lower one. So I think it's
only
like
1 more.
Is it? Am I trolling? 2 more?
1, 2. No, I think it's a bit more.
It's 2.
They played 2 in the upper brackets, then
The 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6.
Yeah, so 2 more.
Even more so then. Like this guy's played 6 BO5s. Like what the fuck?
Yeah,
and
not 6 BO5. There was 3.
Sorry, yeah. Like they play 6 best of series. 4 of them were 3 of them, 4 of them, 3 of them were
3 of them,
BO5s.
3 of them. Yeah.
It's all like and it's like back to back to back.
Yeah.
At least do something about it. Like America's got it. Like the LCS got it, and they have like a third of our viewership. Just to
I
put it out
completely
there.
agree. I think we need to do something with those let backs. Let's say like we just let them down. Those teams that do well and they got nothing in compensation.
Agreed. Shall we talk about the LCK a bit more then? Surprise, surprise. Gen.G won it. Obviously, we said already, but there's no surprise anyway. Yeah, what were your thoughts? Gen.G should just be walking first stand, shouldn't they?
I would be surprised if they don't. Wait, I actually think there is a world, depending on how LPL playoffs
BLG?
go.
Is it the BLG world?
I actually think it's the BLG world, because I think there has been like BLG in playoffs has looked way better. It's just that I still think I haven't seen enough to. I actually need to see them against the top teams, because they actually play that many top teams.
But man, what they did to Weibo bot lane.
Yeah,
the
like
Weibo bot lane
like,
looks so good in regular
like,
season.
Like that's what I'm trying to say. It's like
No.
you wouldn't say Weibo is bad. I
Yeah.
don't think Weibo is like a top team, but like at the same time, it's all like, it's as if like you play KC against GX, for an example, and then just like they stomp like KC did against GX. It's that kind of dominating performance. But then
I
you
would
would
say
have to.
Weibo is better than GX in the LPL scale.
Yeah, exactly, even higher.
They're
So
closer. They're closer to
so
the top 3 than GX is.
So I think it's like, you gotta ask what kind of team, either BLG or JDG AL, because I think these are clearly the top 3 teams in the league. Whichever of the 2, whichever of the 3, the 2 of that go, will actually have a good chance against Gen.G. On current stand, I think BLG is probably not like probably, but just like if they don't show drafts and like players don't get not like mad, just they don't go insane in terms of like mental for some reason.
Hello.
I think there's like a world where Gen.G can be contested, because I think like I don't even think we've seen Gen.G's dominance, like peak potential so far. Like I think they're just like, 'cause they have such a high floor that like no one on the LCK can match them at current like at current moment. But it's not like, like there are some teams that play super well when they're just used to being to like dominating games back to back to back. But once they are a little bit challenged, they kind of stumble, you know. I'm trying to think of an example of a team that can be like that, but it doesn't. I don't have one in my mind right now. But it's like until someone actually gets to their level, you don't really know whether they can withstand that pressure. Like I'm not saying like Gen.G would shit the bed in that case, but it's just that we need to have someone to actually be able to have the potential to go there and say, okay, yeah, we can fight you. And I think among those teams, BLG is the only one that I remotely deem worthy of an opponent.
I agree.
If Gen.G actually doesn't look that good internationally, that actually doesn't put Gen.G in a bad light. It puts the entire LCK in a bad light. Or like it's otherwise it's all the other regions actually stepped up, which I think is actually the most positive thing, because I want to see international competition being non single region. But it's that we were so used to seeing like Korean dominance in the past few years that you wouldn't really you wouldn't really say that Gen.G like the LCK is will be a bad region all of a sudden,
Yep. I feel like Gen.G are unmatched right now. I think the fact that they trioed in final, which honestly, like, people said that FearX will get Stomp and stuff, like that was what everyone was expecting, kind of. I want to say that after watching that lower bracket final against G+, I had hopes that at least they won't get smashed like that, And the fact they did, because honestly, they looked very convincing against G+. And I'm not going to say, like, against Gen.G, they still look like a good team, honestly. It's just that Gen.G is just better overall, They would just be more decisive, more sharp on the objectives. They would just be more, just better on those small details that will make FearX fall, But in the end, FearX like they played okay, in the final. I don't feel like FearX were making like huge mistake or that they were absolutely griefing the games or stuff. Not at all, It's just that Gen.G were better and it was very, very apparent, in the game. But yeah, I agree that if there's a chip that can do it, it's BLG. I think looking at what they did to Weibo, and especially the bot lane again, because when you look at Weibo's bot lane in the regular season, they were very good. They were one of the best, actually. Yeah, it felt like Elk was coming back to his prime, with Era, which is like a new guy, but he still looked like a top tier support this early in the season. And they just made them look like fools, They just made them look like fools. They for example, they take severe Yumi to actually cancel the Ezreal Karma lane. They get, and BLG just get 2k gold at 10 minutes, into that lane. There's just like too many things where you can see that On and Viper are starting to find their footing together. And I'm very, very hyped to see them playing against Gala and Vampire, because I feel like even though Gala and Vampire are not at their best right now, I still would say that this is the biggest test they could have in the short run, let's say, in the LPL right now. So yeah, I'm very hyped to see it. I feel like JGG is, it's a team that it works. Like their bread and butter is basically how mid and jungle will work. It's kind of CFO actually last year. It's like if mid and jungle do well together, then they will win. They will most likely win games. But if they just have enough game, which happens quite often actually, JGG will not doesn't have any option. It's not even like last year Gala with IG that was carrying the game on his own. I don't feel like Gala is that sharp in mid game, let's say, or in team fight and stuff as last year, so that he can carry the games on his own right now. Obviously, he still has it, but right now I haven't seen him do it. And so yeah, I feel like the main thing will be about mid and jungle, and I feel like Knight and Shun are basically the best recently. I would say though that Shanks and Tarzan are looking very good, especially Tarzan. I would say individually is looking very good recently, but yeah, to me, Knight and Shun are just the best. I feel like it just shows how Knight is such a good player, a player like Shun that is so aggressive, that loves to play carry and stuff. When you have Knight around you, to play around you, that can play those LeBlanc, those Galio, all those picks that can move around with you and stuff. I feel like you're just enabled, and yeah.
There's one team that we're discounting
I'm
though.
just very excited to see that.
There's one team,
how it play out.
One region we're just writing off and not even mentioning as potential, as having a potential team to win first stand. LCS.
Don't tell me NA. Oh my god.
No, of course not. But still, there was an interesting final.
Yeah, actually, it was very interesting.
Yeah,
it was very interesting, and it was fun to watch. Like they were a fun team to watch.
Yeah, because going into it, like Cloud9 were like the overwhelming favourites, and like I didn't see anyone that really gave LYON a chance, even though they had gone on a bit of a run at towards the end of the playoffs, and then up steps Inspired, and he's won another title. I mean, I was kind of surprised. To be fair, this is as someone that doesn't closely follow the LCS, but knew that this was like Inspired's team with a few big names on it. I was sort of surprised how like little chance they were given before the final. I guess it's like from just Cloud9's dominance in the LCS before that. But yeah, was it?
It's also the fact that LYON had a super rough start to the split because they had Zamudo, which was a Canadian challenger top laner, and then they couldn't get his visit done, so they brought Dokla in, and that was basically at the start of the split. So I think it's just that like LYON had to work around some stuff and needed some more time. I think it was I guess it's just the Inspired 1v9ing. Like when we think like what Ethan was saying about Scumon, I think Inspired in terms of individual level is just setting the bar so high for EU junglers. Even though he's technically in an A, but I what I mean is we have so many great EU players, and it's just it's kind of funny that this guy just everywhere he goes, any team he plays, he just randomly gets wins. It must mean something.
Oh,
and while I'm not really sure dynamically speaking how he would influence the teams because there were people asking G2 to pick up Inspired. I don't necessarily think he would mesh well with G2's approach from what I've seen, but I just think that if you give him the tools and people are the teammates are willing to listen to him, you have a direction which will lead you to great results. The matter of a question is if the entire team or the players and the coaches are willing to kind of follow his lead, and I think whenever that doesn't happen, or when he's not on his A game, or he feels like his teammates are not matching the level, he also gets influenced by it. This is my as someone who has been watching Run Inspired for how many years? I guess at least 2018, 19 was it? At least maybe 2020. Yeah, before the Rogue days. Yeah,
it was 2019 then.
Yeah.
Before the Rogue days.
Yeah. I used to watch him before the Rogue days, but I guess the Rogue days were when he actually
popped off.
Popped off. He always has given me that impression. So it's just a matter of now the question is the worrying thing for me right now is I thought Cena was going to be you know, the team that goes to internationals this year, and once again they weren't able to. So like that now just like raises me the question as how strong LCS is as a region, because like we saw C9 at Caspa. Okay, that's like a couple of months ago, but still like at Caspa they were doing quite well. Like they were pulling off good gameplay. I think like the foundation was good. Now they get beaten by LYON. So did LYON had to like show up better on the day because of Inspired, or is actually like LYON that good?
So
And
I haven't watched finals. I haven't watched the LCS final, but I can tell because I watched the LYON game against Team Liquid, the LYON series, and I feel like they are very, very insanely creative. First, LYON. For example, I remember Dokla playing Varus top in game one, which is kind of rare. I think the only time I saw that was actually was it Kana? I think it was Kana against MKOI, and it didn't work out well. So, but for LYON it worked. He was playing this Vayne top. It was just like trying to find a way, because I guess Morgan is probably the best, if like one of the best, if not the best top laner in LCS right now. I think he had an insane split, and he was kind of expected to be one of the best already, and he kind of just confirmed the expectations. But they were so just so creative with it. They know Dokla might be maybe like I'm not saying he's not a good player. He is a very good player. I do think so. But maybe on standard matchup or on meta matchup, he will get smashed. So we're gonna put him on Varus, Irelia, Vayne, do all those cheesy picks that actually can take Morgan by surprise and actually just make them win the game. And that's exactly what happened. While I do think, for example, there's also one thing with LYON is that Saint, this guy mechanically is insane, like absolutely insane. I think he just needs confidence. He just needs maybe to find the right picks as well, to have the right matchups and stuff, to not fall behind. But then when it comes to those mid-game team fights, where you have to mechanically outplay the opponents and stuff, this guy is absolutely insane. He's so sharp. I think the Ari game I watched of him against Team Liquid was which was game 3, was probably the most, like, I've never seen such an Ari game mechanically in my life, basically. Like maybe Knight once, in his life, because it's to me it was his best champion back in the days, but I haven't seen another one. This guy is absolutely crazy. I recommend anyone who watched this that hasn't watched the game 3 between or game 4, was it just the last game between LYON and Team Liquid? Just that Ari performance is all time, really. And yeah, I just do feel like this guy can be really good. I was already expecting him last year. I think he kind of I didn't follow his journey that much, but I think he kind of raised to the expectation. So now, if he can confirm that year with such a team around him, with such a jungler accompanying him, I think he can be very good. And that's funny, because I would want to see that, for example, Saint against Yahoo matchup, or Zini against Yahoo. All those former LCKCL guys that will play against each other in tier 1 competition at international and stuff, through Western team. It's just fun to watch. So I want to see that. There's one thing we didn't say, and that I'm kind of sad about. It's that we won't see Diable against Kalist, which to me was like kind of that would have been my highlight of first end, if there had to be any, to see those two prospect fight on the biggest stages. But yeah, I guess we just have to wait a bit, because honestly, it's not. It should be quick before those two just meet at any internationals.
Well, that's
I think,
assuming that FearX stay in the top 2
they have
as
the
well.
potentials. I think. Is it not like 3 teams for MSI for
Probably
LCK?
it should be. Even then,
I think it might be.
Like,
but
that would be
I
impressive
think
if they say top 3.
I wouldn't be that surprised, And anyway, I think Diable, if it's not this year, it will be next year. he will be in a top team, you know. He will be in a top team that is competing for every international soon or sooner, you know. Like
Thank
I
you,
know it will
Pays,
be.
for your contribution. Welcome
I
to
don't
T1
know, you
Travel.
know. Right now, it's not looking that good for Pace. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't think he adapted that well that week. But yeah, I guess we have to give him some time. You know, like if after spring he hasn't had a huge step up, maybe we can start to worry a bit. You know, but right now it's a bit too early to judge him. Yeah, that quick. I would say Diable, you know, even if it's not in LCK because maybe it's too stacked or whatever. Even though I think he has his place among the best LCK ADCs already, it will be an LPL, you know. But anyway, this guy will be at every international soon enough.
Maybe KC can get him when after G2 signs Kalist this offseason.
I don't know, man. I feel like people are starting to be more critical about Kali's performances. Which is kind of fair to me because I don't think he performed that well in playoff. But still, you know, like it's not a given that Kalist will be in G2 next year if he is the worst team of KC this year, for example, you know. So yeah, but I do think it's just you know, it was just a bad path. I think he will look good next split. He will look good after that, and yeah, it was just a matter of playoff. Maybe he was tired, maybe whatever. I don't know. But anyway, like this guy belongs to the best tier of ADCs, and it's like the biggest prospect we have in Europe right now, for sure. With Command, obviously.
I guess that's why like we have so much like we're setting the bar so high for him that anything that's like reasonably decent is still not good enough.
Yeah,
like I think it what I'm trying to say like think of is like, okay, yeah, we got someone like Skewmon who can potentially match the best junglers in the world. We got someone like Caps. We don't have, I think we don't have that for bot lane. We used to have for top lane, I think. Or I think at least like top lane you can kind of have like a BB who, or like obviously we have Kana, but like he's Korean. But in terms of like EU talent, I guess we have like
we have
something.
Naknako.
We have like Naknako for sure. But what I'm trying to say is like at least for top lane right now, it looks like you like laning matters to a certain extent, but you can like get away a lot with it by having good matchups or like decent matchups where it can kind of cover the weakness, or like I have a playstyle that kind of makes you get more accepted for being or be like you're still doing your job if you're playing weak side, is what I'm trying to say. Like for example, Dokla did that against C9. Like he was soaking up a lot of pressure up in the top lane. But he was still like showing up in the team fights, but it's not like he was carrying the team, you know. I think that with how the meta it is right now, like if you're not carrying as a bot lane, or if you're fed ahead and you don't carry as much as you should, you're always going to get bashed for it. Like I don't think, honestly, if you look at the series, I don't think Hansama had a necessarily better series than Kalist.
Yeah, I agree.
Another example, like he got caught so many few times, like when he had flash. There were a lot of times where he just overstepped or like over committed with Kai'Sa, I think too early, which led to like G2 like having to play many different team fights that were not necessary, And
there was that play around Nexus where he just got one shot without using Zonia, for example. There was a lot.
Exactly. It's like and I don't want to bash Hans because I think he can show up better than this. It's just that it's been a little bit recurring to the fact that like there are some moments where he just doesn't seem to have that clutch factor like Diable and Ruler would have, you know. Just to obviously I'm not keeping Hans to the same expectations or to the same level as these two guys, because I think these are literally two of the best ADCs in the world. But
I think I would say they are the two best actually.
Yeah.
No,
like,
with Viper.
I think with Viper, you know, like I think Viper is there. I just think that I would expect a little bit more from Hans to not make those mistakes in those particular moments, because like G2 got away with it now. If that happens again at first, then there's no way they get away with it at first hand, is what I mean. And we saw that many times over the past few years, where it's like the LEC can somewhat match the Eastern teams up until like the mid game, and then after the mid game, they kind of like do not know what to do, or do not play as proactively, or do not punish as much, and so they end up getting crushed. So this is, which goes back to what we said about G2's mid game, which I will be like, I think when I will be watching the series, I will try to understand and scrutinize where it's like G2 is not being able to, like, whether first G2 will show up and match those teams. If they do not, is it the other Eastern teams that are doing something on, like, have the Eastern teams figure out something that they're doing consistently better than G2, or is G2 actually not playing to their level? I think this will be kind of like the main takeaway, or like main element that will kind of decide whether G2 can perform well at first hand, for me at least.
That's the main things I think off the list. Actually, one other thing. Did you guys see that Caedrel had said about Los Ratones' scrim results?
I think I saw that.
There was
like,
a couple
it was
of
like 45%.
yeah,
40,
like
no,
in
41.
general. It was
Yeah.
like 43%.
I saw that, but they were like screaming KCB and Misa basically,
So-
like most of the time.
So against LEC teams, KCB was like the vast majority, well, not the vast majority of their wins, but like they had way more wins against KCB than anyone else, which really goes to show like how much they fucked their whole run by losing to them in their actual official. But there was a couple of interesting tidbits in there. We'll have to. I wanted to see Roman's ones from G2 as well. It was a shame that's not out already, because it would be interesting to kind of compare and see any patterns between certain teams. Because yeah, against KCB they were like obliterating them. They 12 wins, 3 losses. But then against the other, like that was the only team they were positive against in scrims. G2 was their toughest opponent. No, so G2 they had the most losses, so they also had a lot of scrims of them. So they had 6 wins, 14 losses. Percentage-wise, their toughest opponent was SK. They got bashed by SK. They beat them twice. They lost 9 times. And that was the one I was waiting to, because again we were wondering about what the fuck's happened with SK, that every team thought they were going to be really good and they were not. I'm wondering if they are like just like scrim animals as well. Maybe G2 has struggled against them, but yeah, we'll have to see once G2 releases theirs.
I feel like it's not that surprising, because when you look at it, Los Ratones was having most of their win because of cheesy picks at the time. By the way, it was cheesy picks at the time, but right now those picks like Mundo and Nami, for example, those are prior picks. It's kind of crazy that Los Ratones settled the meta so fast. By the way, in this stuff ones. But yes, but by the time it was kind of cheesy picks. And I guess when you go to SK with cheesy picks, they can answer with even cheesier picks, So maybe that's the reason why they were having a rough time against them.
I mean, I can imagine it, even when SK are like not very good, I can imagine them just still being like an annoying team in scrims that probably just pull out all random shit and surprise you. Exactly. But one that I was a bit surprised on as well, that they had 7 wins, 8 losses against Na'Vi, so they were like more or less even with Na'Vi in scrims during the regular season, when Na'Vi were like maybe like 2nd or 3rd best team. So yeah,
probably because they were playing Fearless. Maybe if they play series against them and they play Fearless, maybe they don't. By the way, maybe they just reset every game and play BO1 again. But I would say that maybe Na'Vi will try stuff against Los Ratones, for example, while in BO1s they were always playing with the same identity, with the same playstyle, to actually secure wins. So maybe that can be the reason. I think scrim results are kind of whatever anyway, in general. Unless they're like very close to very important rendezvous, let's say. Because, for example, if you get closer to the final, scrims will have more importance, because obviously you won't try stuff or practice cheesy picks or whatever. You will focus on what works and what you can play the day of the final. But outside of that, I would say scrims are kind of irrelevant. So, yeah. And especially, have you seen like the fact that Misa 5-0 them like in when they were like actually very good, like when they were like I guess just when they came out of the 2-1 week, Misa just
Yeah.
5-0 them in scrim.
Oh, but no, they
This
4-1
team
them.
is scary,
They
guys.
4-1
I'm telling
them
you.
actually.
Okay.
But yeah,
4-1, fair.
against
But this
ERL
team is very
ERL
scary.
opponents, they were negative in scrims against a couple of teams. So a bit interesting. Is there any other things, any other topics you guys had? There's a couple of more things on the doc, but they're not like overly important.
I think we have to do next week the our power ranking, you know, for first stand.
Exactly.
Maybe.
That's
Yeah.
why we save the juicy first stand stuff.
We have first stand power rankings, and then I think just for some general impressions of teams. I actually kind of wanted to talk about like LCP as well, but I guess we can just wait for first stand for next week, because I think it's quite interesting to see not seeing CFO there. I mean, like they got knocked out super early, but just the fact that there has been some changes in TSW and Pacific in general.
Yeah. Well, let's save it for next week then. We catch up on them there and do our first stand rundown. Ethan, if you like, I'll give you 15 seconds for an ad.
Really? Okay, guys.
Hold on.
Don't hesitate.
Go, 15 seconds.
Okay, guys, if you'd like to, don't hesitate to try rft.gg, which is the new website I'm working for. And so outside of the news and media stuff, there are a lot of features. You can watch players' rating. You can rate yourself with the community ratings for the players. And yeah, that's very fun. You have a lot of statistics to compare your players and stuff, a lot of data. Don't hesitate to try it. There's forum. There's you can put
way longer than 15
on
seconds.
your user page what fan of a player you are, what team you are, and people can even look at your ranking account.
I'm gonna have to start cutting the mic in a second, like at the Oscars. Listen.
And imagine if a bronze player says something bad about your favorite player, for example, in the forum, you can just smash at him. You know, you can just say, "Hey, yo, you're bronze. What are you even talking about?" and stuff like that. And you can just flex your rank and stuff. And yeah, thank you. Thank you to actually try it. I would really be glad that you just give me your feedback about that site, rft.gg.
So where do I do my complaints? Where do they go?
I don't know, man. You go to rft.gg, you create a forum, and you say, I have to make complaints, you know.
Do I have to post 9 comments?
Everyone will see that you're an Aram player, and yeah, that can be bad for you.
Do I have to do 9 comments for every post?
No, actually, and that's what I was about to say. It's an insane alternative to that fucking r/League of Legends that no one likes. So yeah, don't hesitate to try it out.
That's the first and last mention you get on here. You're welcome.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that would have been kind of sad if every time I come back to a not spawn emission, a not spawn show, I'm just doing ad for another site, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
exactly.
one and only, but thank you for giving me the space for that.
Thank you for abusing it as well, because that was like a minute and a half, which was not what I allowed. But anyway, well, congrats, Ethan, on the new gig.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody for listening as usual. And yeah, we'll see you next week for the first stand power rankings.
See you guys. Bye bye.
Yeah.
You.